Good morning, dear student. We were discussing the Indian poet in English, and I think we have discussed the initial page how the English education in India was started after the Act of 1835, when Macaulay's famous memorandum stated that a need to develop a class of person in India, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinion, and in morals and in intellects, and that was the only motto of the company, the government at that time, that they just spread the English education in India. They wanted to create only Babu, but after then after comes the missionaries. There came missionaries and they try to give the education to the Indian people, because they wanted the lot of work, lot of babus that could serve their purpose. So after that we have seen the Henry Derejo, Michael Madhusantan Datta and Toru Datta. They were considered, they are considered the poets belonging to imitative phase. Means they just read the European literature, particularly the most of the poets belonging to romantic movement, romantic poet, and just they try to follow their path. In what way they put forward their thoughts, in what way they describe the situation, in what way they use the rhythm and cadence, each and everything just try to follow. That's why they just try to imitate their way of the expressing thoughts and feeling with the help of poetry. So that was imitative period. After that we have seen that there was second phase, and that phase was they just modified themselves, and that period was in that period generally belongs the poets like Sarojini Naidu, Rabindranath Tagore, Sri Aurobindo, and just they were so influenced, they were so philosophical and experimental, because they read the European literature, but they use the European language as English to express their thoughts and feelings, but in that language they try to express their own background. Just they try to mimic their own cadence, their own atmosphere. That's why, though the language was English, the language was foreign, but the matter was totally Indians, and that's why. And in that particular period, there was the Sipai Mutiny, you know very well, and after that, the Rabindranath Tagore, Sri Aurobindo, and Sarojini Naidu, they always try to pose their thought, because Indian freedom struggle movement was at peak at that time, and it was their we can say work ethic, we can say that they has to spread the knowledge, the feelings, and encourage people in India to fight for their freedom. And that's why it is said that in their poetries the politics, in their poetries, politics cannot be deviate from their poetries. The poets were also freedom fighter, and thus their political sensibilities were so deeply woven into their poetries. And it is said that it was not possible to disentangle politics and poetry during this phase, and that was the second phase. After that, we see the post-independence. Post-independence means after we got the dependence on the British rule. We were totally independent. We were totally free from the British government. That period is called post-independent period. Means after the independence, post-independence, the Indian poetry in English grew more experimental, drawing inspiration from modernists like T.S. Eliot, W.B. Yeats, and W.H. Auden, poets like A.K. Ramanujan, Arun Kolatkar, Jayanta Mahapatra, Kamala Das, Niji Miskil, Arundhati Subramaniam, Ismat Chaughtai, Dam Morris, Agha Said Ali and Keki Darwala refined the genre, writing on the various topics upon tackling the taboo ones. These poets originated the uniquely Indian style of writing in the language, and that was often considered alien. So, we after independence we generally see the next phase, that is most creative phase, we can say. They just follow, they just read the work from and get the inspiration from the modernists like T.S. Eliot, W.B. Yeats, W.H. Auden, and like them they also try to pour their thoughts and feelings that were totally Indian, though they use the foreign language, but whatever the matter they put, that was totally Indian. So we see generally the writing of A.K. Ramanujan, Arun Kolankar, Jayanta Mahapatra, Kamala Das, even they try to just experiment in each and every rhythm. They just experimented in each and every subject while writing their poetry. Even they touch the taboo topics, just as the sexuality, love, and all that types of poetry. They also try to write in this particular phase. The critical analysis of this Indian poetry often focuses on the how Indian poems are, whether they really are Indian considering they are written in so-called foreign language. There have been many debates on whether they should be a part of Indian or English literary canon. Opinions have been sharp and divided. Salman Rushdie opined that the Indian poetry in English is the best. There is the dismissing all the original poetry and translation in one stroke. Others believe that English cannot express thoughts and feelings the same way the original poetry can. Some, like Raja Rao, has spoken about using English to express feelings that are uniquely Indian by imitating the regional cadence of speech. While the opinions vary, it is certain that writing in English offers a few advantages. It is a linked language and can thus be understood by the people across the country as well as across the world. And since English is not rooted to a single place, it can be used by everyone, anyone, anywhere in the country to express the wide variety of the ideas. And this is the most important explanation we have to keep in mind while discussing our Indian English poetry. There was the discussion about the whether we should use English language while expressing our thought and feeling or not. So there were various the lot of we can say the thoughts expressed by the thinkers, and according to them, firstly, when we start from critical analysis of the poetry, often focus on how Indian poems are, whether they really are Indian, considering if they are written in so-called foreign languages. If they are using the language, foreign language means English, and putting their Indian thoughts, that in that particular situation, should we consider that poetry as Indian or foreign? Because whatever they are writing in foreign language. But there are some other thinkers, we can say, the novelist Salman Rushdie opined that Indian poetry in English is the best. Why is he is saying that? Because the dismissing all the original poetry and translation in one stroke. Means if we are translating, if we are we can say the original language, if we are writing in Marathi, that Marathi literature only could be read by the Marathi people, by those who know the Marathi. But what beyond the Maharashtra? If we are writing in English, there are lot of opportunities that the people, the reader beyond the Maharashtra can read. That is the response. That is the main advantage we can find while expressing our thoughts and feeling in English language, because English language is linked language, and that most of the part of this world use the English as their the official language, and that's why there are a lot of advantages while using the English language. There are also some opinions that others believe that English cannot express thoughts and feeling the same way the regional poetry can. This is also the point of discussion. As we are expressing ourselves, we cannot so enthusiastically, we can say, so wholeheartedly express our thoughts and feeling in foreign language. If really we want to convey our thoughts and feeling, that we generally uses our day-to-day life, that language in our day-to-day life, we are more able to express ourselves in our mother tongue. So there are some opinions about that factor. There are the things that if we are to express ourselves fully, we should write our in regional language, means in our mother tongue, and that is that we can express ourselves fully and wholeheartedly with using our only mother tongue, and the foreign language will not assist us to express ourselves fully. That was also one point of discussion there. Some says that there is someone like Raja Rao has spoken about the using English to express feeling that are uniquely Indian by imitating regional cadence of speech. According to Raja Rao, if you are using the foreign language to express yourselves, but though there may be the language, foreign language, but the cadence, the rhythm, that we can say the intonation pattern, we can use the regional intonation pattern, we can incorporate using the foreign language. It means that only there will be the language that will be foreign, but apart from that, the cadence, the rhythm, the way of expressing the matter, manner, each and everything will be our native, and that's why it will not be faulty to express ourselves in foreign language. We can easily express our feelings and thought using foreign language also, if we are imitating our native cadence, native rhythm, native matter, each and everything will be native, only language will be foreign. That will also can be helpful while expressing ourselves. While opinions vary, it is certain that the writing in English offer a few advantages. When we are writing in English, we are expressing our thoughts and feeling in English. There are a few advantages, and what are advantages? It is a linked language, and thus be understood by the people across the country, across the world, and that's why it is a linked language. We generally consider it is a world language, and that's why if we are expressing our thoughts and feeling, if we are focusing on some social issues that is prevailing in India, that problem, that social problem can be spread all over the world, because in this whole world the English know everyone know the English, we can say. There are some exceptions like China and Japan, but most of the part of this world know the English, and that's why we will be able to express ourselves to the whole world. And since English is not rooted to single place, it can be used by anyone, anywhere in the country to express the wide variety of ideas. And there is another way, another advantage is that as far as our India is concerned, there are lot of regional languages. If you go to south, there are Malayalam, Telugu, there are lot of languages. In middle India, there are also lot of Marathi, Gujarati, there are either Bengali and Punjabi. Various languages are used in India to express our views and thoughts and feeling. If I am writing in Marathi, the Punjabi will not be able to feel my feeling, able to understand my writing. If someone is writing in Punjabi, Marathi man would not be able to understand the feelings and thought whatever has been expressed by that Punjabi man. The Southian will not be able to whatever you have expressed in Hindi. So as far as our India is concerned, if we are expressing our thoughts and feelings using English, so that your thoughts and feelings and your ideas can be understood by the whole nation, because English is used from north to south, from east to west, and that's why it will be very useful that we are encouraging English, we are using English in our writing. So I think you might have understood this particular portion. After that, there is another point, that this multiculturalism means the variety of cultures. If we go to north, we will come to know the various cultures generally followed by the Punjabis, the Gujaratis and Rajasthanis. There are various type of cultures they generally follows. If we go to south, we will come to know the various cultures there too. If we go to east, that Bangla and that Manipur, and they also follow their different culture. But as far as our whole India is concerned, we generally find the unity in diversity. There are various languages, there are various cultures, there are various traditions. They use the various costumes and each and everything. There are various eating habits also we generally find in India. But apart from that, instead of that also, we are following our unity in diversity, and that multiculturalism, however, makes it harder to talk about the certain things that are regional in nature. And that's why if someone is writing in Manipuri, Marathi will not be able to understand that Manipuri and to know their culture. So if we want to know the culture of each and every region in India, so if they are expressing their culture using English, there will be the more possibility that each and every citizen in India can understand the culture of Gujarati, can understand the culture of Manipuri, the culture of Southeast. So in such multicultural atmosphere, it harder to talk about the certain things that are regional in nature. And there is also the question of who is the audience. The Indian poetry in English seems to be accessed only by the minority who can afford an expensive education in English. Thus, poetry, instead of being accessible and revolutionary, become addressed to and written by rich. And many poets sidesteps this issue by writing simultaneously in their mother tongue and English, and by publishing translation. One thing is certain, for all the colonial overtones to English, it has become an Indian language and will continue to be used to express the post-colonial thought and ideas. This is what makes the Indian writing in English so unique. As far as this multiculturalism atmosphere, we generally find the mixing of various cultures. And there is another point, that who would be audience, who would be reader. If you are this case particularly was more applicable in few decades after the independence, because at that time there was not so we can say propagation of the Indian English education, and most of the people could not afford to get the English education. But as far as the present situation is concerned, the most of the people, students living in India, have got the English education. That's why they can access the material written in English easily. So there is another point of view there, that those who haven't got the English education, how can they understand the English writing, English poetry, English prose? So it will be the accessible only for few that who have got the English education. Means it will be the writing of the rich and read by the rich. So but as far as there are for some as far as this present scenario is concerned, most of the people can easily access the literature written in English, and that's why we cannot concentrate ourselves on using only mother tongue. We have to express our ideas using English, that may be accessible to all over the India, all over the world. In the same way, some writers are also using their mother tongue while expressing their thoughts and feeling, and at the same time they are translating their literature in English. So their translation are accessible by the outside the India and outside India and all over the India. At the same time, their writing in their mother tongue is also accessible by their native speaker, by their the regional readers and audiences. So as far as in nutshell, I want to give an idea that the whatever it may be the situation, but as far as the English is concerned, it is considered as a world language, link language. That's why we must have that much potential, or we must develop our capabilities to know the English. That may be very useful to us to get a lot of knowledge all around the world. So dear student, the remaining portion we will discuss tomorrow. Thank you.